Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Deirdre Summerlad Rogers. Welcome to NR 323, Human Dimensions in Natural Resource Management. The goal of this lecture is to get you familiar with what the class is, the types of assignments we're going to do, what to expect, a little bit of background of what our goals are in this class. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so this is winter 2024. And we are gonna, a little bit about me. I'm originally from California. I'm from the Bay Area. I did my graduate work in Bowling Green, Ohio at Bowling Green State University. I have my PhD in sociology. I've taught quite a few different places, including the University of Idaho, SUNY Polytechnic, and Greensboro College in North Carolina. We moved out here in 2018. I did a master's degree here at Cal Poly in forestry, which I graduated from in 2021. I've been teaching at Cal Poly since 2019. This is my lovely family. These are my sons. That's my husband. And we live on a ranch. So when we talk about natural resource management, I am definitely in the weeds. Well, I have goats, so I'm not so much in the weeds because they eat all the weeds. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about resources and how we manage them in our decision-making process. So information about the course. If you have questions about the class, please email me. Please do not ever try to send me a message through Canvas. I never get them. I most of the time don't see them. You won't get an answer in a timely manner if you try to use that messaging app in Canvas. If you want to get a hold of me, you need to send me an email through the Cal Poly email. Our class is asynchronous, and everything you need to know and everything you need is going to be on our course shell. The only thing that you're going to need to do is work with your group to figure out a time during the week that you guys can meet for about an hour, hour and a half. Group work is incredibly important when we have asynchronous classes. My office is in building 10, room 250. I am only going to be physically on campus Mondays and Fridays, so in late afternoons. So if you would like us to meet in person, you need to email me ahead of time and set up a time so I can make sure I'm on campus. Otherwise, we can meet on Zoom. This is my Zoom address, and this is actually on our campus course shell as well. So a little bit about what is the purpose of this class. So human dimensions is often one of the least understood, yet primary reasons for many historical and contemporary environmental problems. How we choose to use our resources or not use our resources or conserve our resources or exploit our resources significantly impacts the health of those resources. One of the things that we'll be talking about in this class is how civilizations have used their resources and how those resources lead to the rise and fall of civilizations. The course promotes understanding of our role as humans in environmental management. We focus on attitudes, motivations, and behaviors around conservation and development. Human dimension research is interdisciplinary. So we're going to be talking a lot about social sciences in this class, but also biology and economics, politics. So all of these things come into play when we think through what are the human dimensions of resource management. Anytime humans are using a resource in any way, shape, or form, there's a series of decisions that went into deciding to use that resource in a particular way. We live on a finite planet, and so our resources are finite. There is a limit to our ability to utilize resources until ecosystems collapse. And one of the questions we're going to be one of the threads we're going to be pulling on in this course is, why do humans make decisions that lead to their resources collapsing? And who's making those choices and why? So the study of human dimensions applies a lot of social science theory, a lot of psych, economic, and physical aspects of resource management. So as we go through the class, that's kind of our overall goals, is to understand why people make these choices, what happens with these choices, and how do people choose to make different choices. So our course objectives is to identify and describe important concepts in collective action, social systems, and politics, describe how humans use natural resource and environmental management outcomes, analyze and compare the effectiveness of alternative methods for initiating and sustaining change in natural resource and environmental management, and evaluate the strengths and limitations of community and public engagement methods in natural and resource and environmental management. So those are kind of the course objectives. We have 2 textbooks that we're using in this class. I actually have digital copies available for you on the Canvas course shell, but if you are a book person, I actually like to read the book. I don't like to just read it online. You can purchase these. Both of these books are easily available. They are popular books. They are not overly expensive. My goal in all of my courses is, if I can find a text that gets us through what we need to do without breaking the bank, that's what I'm going to do. So the first is Jared Diamond's Collapsed: How Societies Choose to Fail or Succeed. And we're going to be using Diamond's framework. So you'll be needing to read for the first week his prologue. And so it's important that you actually have this textbook. The other one is Dirt: The Erosion of Civilization. Well, Jared Diamond is talking about societies and kind of doing a spotlight on a number of different societies. Montgomery's book is taking us through the lens of soils. How do we think about our soil? Our soil is foundational, by the way. How we treat the soil we live on, our choices with our soil, really does lead to the rise and fall of civilizations, because we have this little thing called food we happen to need. And so how well that soil is working for us really impacts how well we can eat. And so this book does talk about civilizations and things like that as well, but through the lens of the thing that sustains us. Soil and water is key to human survival. All right, so all of the assignments are to be submitted on Canvas, obviously, because this is an asynchronous course. The upside to everything being due on Canvas means that there's no reason for you to miss late assignments. You can always get your assignments in early. This might require you to have some good time management strategies and really plan ahead. But if you know that you have things coming up that are not part of your group work, that are part of the individual work for this class, there is no reason why you can't get them in early. Individual assignments, watching videos, quizzes open on Thursdays and close on Sundays. You don't have to take the quiz on Sunday. You can take the quiz on Thursday. So, and of course, if you're sick, let me know. If there is an emergency, like you are going to the ER at 11:59 at night on a Sunday, which is when all the assignments are due, my first question is, why don't you do your work ahead of time? But my second question is, I'm willing to give you a little bit of a buffer when it comes to medical emergencies. Just so you know, this is our Canvas course shell. And one of the things I'd really encourage you guys to look at is the calendar. So Canvas actually has a calendar that allows you to see when all assignments are due. Put this in your personal calendar. If you know that it's going to take you a couple days to watch a video and write a summary, and that summary is due on Sunday, but you also know that you have plans for the weekend, you should be starting to watch this around the 17th or 18th. You should not be trying to watch this on Sunday. So this is all of the assignments, and their due dates are already all posted. You can also look at this through the course syllabus, which, if you scroll down, has all the due dates. almost all the things that I have due for you are due Sunday at 11:59. Please don't wait till Sunday at 11:50 to do your assignments. Please do them ahead of time. So that's kind of my time management, and especially in an asynchronous course, it's really important that you are on top of assignments. I do not want to have you email me and say, oh, I forgot something was due. No, you need to get this on a calendar. You need to be planning. This is really important in an asynchronous class. All right. So what are our assignments? Oops. There are 4 types of assignments for this class. The first is quizzes. There are 3 quizzes. The first quiz is over the first 3 weeks of the quarter. The second quiz is over weeks 4 through 7. And the last one is over weeks 8 through 10. These are multiple choice and short answer. They are not cumulative, although there are concepts that we cover throughout the class that will be on at least 2 of the quizzes, like our framework and things like that, because I'm asking you to show me that you understand and you can apply it to new concepts. You have 30 minutes to complete about 15 questions. Most of my quizzes are about 15 questions. It is open note, it is open book, but it is not a group project. Like, this is an individual assignment, so please don't work together. Then there's a series of individual assignments. You'll have videos that you'll be watching and summaries to write up for those. There is an autobiography on your connection to nature. Those assignments are individual assignments. Those, again, are due on Sundays. There are 2 group projects, which I'm going to talk about over the next slide. And then there are weekly group discussions. Most weeks during the quarter, you and your group are going to need to meet and go over some discussions based on the readings and the videos for the week. I highly recommend that you set your group meeting after Thursdays. So the first group project you have, this is a group presentation, they're both group presentations, is to study an ancient civilization. So I actually give you a list of ancient civilizations to pick from. I have chosen these because there's enough information for you to be able to answer the questions on them. I always feel like it's very Euro Near East centric, but that's because where most of the archaeology has happened and where most of our written history has come from that we have preserved today. I do have civilizations that are not basically in the Mediterranean as much as I can, but there's a lot of places where there was pretty sophisticated societies that we just have not studied in any depth. And so I don't feel it's okay to ask you to try and describe a civilization we don't know much about. It'd be really hard to answer some of the questions. So you guys are going to do a 10-minute presentation. I have a series of prompts to guide you through the questions you're going to ask. And then that will be due on February 5th. That's a Sunday. And then, oh, sorry, that's a Monday. And then one of the assignments for the rest of the week is that you guys will watch everybody else's presentations and comment on them. Like, how are your presentations similar or different in terms of your civilizations? So the idea here is that we all get to learn about a bunch of different civilizations. So I ask that each group pick one of these civilizations. There is a discussion board on our course shell that you're going to post that to. So here in week 1, your group needs to meet this first week. So start reaching out to everybody, and you guys need to pick which civilization you want to do. Only one person needs to post it on this board. This is the list. There's also a list in this video that I'll go over in a minute, but only one person from your group needs to say group 1 is going to do the Athenians, right? So I gave you a list here, and so these are the ones that we'll be looking at. So this is where it is at the bottom of this first week. So here is the list. I actually am going to post this expanded list. I took off Egypt because people really struggle with Egypt because it was around for like 4,000 years and there's way too much information. And I really want us to be able to kind of get a feel of these different civilizations. So we have the Byzantine Empire, which is around Constantinople, and this empire is around from 300 to 1453. That should be CE. We have the Olmecs, which are in Central America. We have Athens, which is in Greece. Then we have the Achaemenid Empire, which is in Persia, which is in current day Iran. And then we have the Achaemenid Empire, which is in Persia, which is in Iran. And then we have the Tiwanaku in Bolivia, Chile, and southern Peru. This is kind of a pre-Olmec civilization. We have the Han Empire in China. We have the Harappa Empire, which is part of the Indus Valley civilization in modern-day Pakistan. We have the Kingdom of Motapa, which is in Zimbabwe. We have Carthage, which is in North Africa and Tunisia. We have the Minoan Empire, which is an island civilization in the Mediterranean. We have the Incas, which are centered in the Andes Mountains. If you watch Disney movies, this is the Emperor's New Groove. Like, that's a good example of the Incan civilization. And then we have the Lapita culture, which is part of the Neolithic island, Pacific Island culture. So those are the cultures that you can pick from. There are 12 different ones. Your group just needs to do one, and it needs to do one nobody else is doing. So whoever gets there first gets to choose first. So please make sure that you're not doing somebody else's civilization. The second project that you're going to do after you're done with this in week 5, starting in week 6, you guys are going to look at the current state of a resource. And you're going to find a specific resource that you're going to look at. So you're not going to look at lakes. You're not going to look at forests. You're going to look at something like the Los Padres Forest. That is our national forest here in San Luis Obispo County there and Santa Barbara County. So you want to find a very specific resource. You're not going to look at rivers. You could look at the Salinas River. You can look at, you don't want to look at lakes. You can look at Lake Tahoe, right? So you want to be very specific in what you're looking at. It does not have to be in the United States. It can be anywhere. I will tell you that you need to make sure you choose a resource that has enough information to answer all the questions that you're going to be looking at. So what is the resource, what its historical uses, the current socio-political and economic aspects of it, how is it being used, how is it being conserved, is it being conserved, who is getting to make decision choices about how that resource is being made and conserved and used, who does not have power that might need access to that resource. That is definitely something, no matter where you are, that we want to talk about. And then what is the future of this resource? Is it declining? If you're going to look at river systems, particularly in places where there's severe drought going on, yeah, the future of these resources can be pretty bleak. Especially if conservation and proper management efforts haven't been put in place. And then how do we think through creating resilience and adaptation for this resource? How do we preserve it? And we'll talk about what those things mean across as we get into the course, but those are very particular concepts. So, all right, now let's talk about the last thing is the weekly group discussions. So most weeks your group is going to get together and you're going to have group discussions. There's a series of prompts for each week that reflect on the materials we're talking about that week. So before your group meets, you need to have consumed the content of the course. So if you know that it takes you 3 hours to read a chapter, and then there's an hour video and an hour lecture, you need to plan in 5 hours before your group meets. So I highly recommend your group not meet before Thursday. You put onto your calendar the time you're going to be planning to dedicate to this class, so that you have consumed all of the materials and are ready to have that discussion before your group meets. If you have group members who are slacking, who are not doing their part, who are not showing up, you need to let me know. There are consequences in this class for not doing your part in the group. I will take away the points that you got if you did not do a project. And that includes the group projects, by the way. If everybody in your group agrees that you're going to have all of the content you're going to use for the group presentation done by Thursday, and you're going to record on Sunday, you need to have your stuff to your group by that date. Like you need to be conscientious of that. This class is not going to tolerate slacking. I expect you to show up every week. Again, if an emergency comes up, like you had to go to the hospital, cool. But if you know that you work on Friday afternoons, don't have your group meeting on Friday afternoons when you're going to be at work. So you need to treat this very seriously because your group members depend upon you for your weekly group discussions. The group discussions, both the prompts, but it's also an opportunity for you guys to work on your group projects. I never recommend people wait till the last minute to do group projects. Sometimes you have to dig around to find content. So, all right, so talking a little bit about the first couple weeks. This week is week 1. You have this video, which is kind of our course overview. There's a lecture called Prologue and a lecture called Biodiversity, both of which are already posted. The readings are from Diamond or Prologue in chapter 14, and the reading from Montgomery is chapter 1. These readings are not that long, by the way, so don't feel like they're really overwhelming. So in week 2, we have a lecture on soils, and then we're going to talk about Montana. We're going to kick off talking about Montana as kind of how you want to think through resource use. There is a video on the mysteries of the Anasazi that you'll be required to watch and do a write-up on. And then your reading is chapter 4 from Diamond. Chapter 4 is on the Anasazi and kind of their neighbor, and really thinking through how we're applying some of the strategies we read about and talk about in Prologue and chapter 14. All right, so that gives you through the first couple of weeks. You should know that at the beginning of each week, there'll be a weekly overview of what's coming up, what's going on, kind of a housekeeping video to keep you up to date on things that are going on. And so that's how I like to structure my classes. All lectures will be posted by Sunday. So make sure you log in on Mondays so you can see if any other lectures got posted. Not all the lectures are posted yet. A lot of them are, but not all of them. And so, yeah, especially towards the end of the class, not all the lectures are posted yet. So those will be posted by Sunday night. I also usually post links to any short videos I might be showing during lecture, so you have the opportunity to go back and look at them if there was something in there that you wanted to see again or needed to understand a little bit better. So I always make sure I post those videos. So if we covered it in the lecture, you don't need to rewatch them. Although sometimes to make lectures shorter, I will just say, watch this, pause the lecture and go watch this video. So sometimes I do that as well. All right, everybody, I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to you being in the class, and I hope you enjoyed the class. I always enjoy teaching this class. I think it's fascinating to look at the decision-making process that cultures make, how that impacts the people and the land, and how living in kind of a good balance with the ecosystem and keeping that ecosystem healthy is really important to having long-term stable societies. All right, everybody, I will see you around class. Have a good week.